Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Crypto Rundown. I'm Romeo from Marketing Crypto, and in this episode, we're going to talk about Sam Bankman-Fried's ongoing trial. After waiting almost a year, the federal agencies have finally concluded their investigations, and the federal prosecutors have gathered enough evidence to call for a solid trial. So, what are the charges against Sam Bankman-Fried? The federal prosecutors have charged Sam with 3 charges: 2 counts of wire fraud, 4 counts of conspiracy to commit fraud, and 1 count of money laundering. So what does it really mean? Wire fraud generally means that you are misappropriating users' funds. You are taking money that are not yours. And as for conspiracy to commit fraud, it basically counts as any sort of criminal conspiracy in the financial realm. And in terms of money laundering, underreporting your income, underreporting your illegal income, all of these kind of thing comes under money laundering. It's important to remember that in July, prosecutors dropped a campaign finance charge against SBF. SBF was the second biggest contributor to the Democratic Party of the United States. Now this certainly raises a few eyebrows, whether the politicians knew about SBF's ill-gotten funds. So the prosecutors dropped this charge because the Bahamian authorities, where Sam Bankman-Fried was taking shelter before the Bahamian authorities extradited them to the US, objected by saying this campaign finance charge was not initially presented to them in the extradition request. Therefore, they are objecting the inclusion of this charge. This is a little weird for a country to uphold its judicial authority in defense of a criminal, but yeah, sure, why not? So what is exactly going to happen to SBF and FTX once this trial is concluded and the jury finally reaches a decision? We are going to have to wait and see because this is going to be a long trial. So let me remind you exactly what happened with FTX over the last couple of years and how FTX went from being one of the biggest crypto exchanges in the world to a bankrupt company whose CEO is facing criminal charges. Let's begin. People lost $8.9 billion in the aftermath of the FTX collapse. It exposed how a charismatic nerd fooled the biggest VC firms and the US government. It crippled the nascent crypto economy for months. So what exactly happened? Just like in a classic drama, we have 2 main characters and a romantic interest. Character number 1, Sam Bankman-Fried, aka SBF, the CEO of FTX Exchange. The second character is Changpeng Zhao, aka CZ, the CEO of Binance, the biggest crypto exchange. And the third character is Caroline Ellison, the CEO of Alameda Research. So let's grab some popcorn and start the story. Let's start with the background on SBF. SBF made his money arbitrage trading in crypto. He would buy Bitcoin in the US and sell them in Japanese and Korean exchanges where the price was 15 to 50% higher. He made a lot of money with this technique through his quant trading firm Alameda Research. Now you have to understand, arbitrage trading is basically exploiting financial loopholes. You are buying something cheap somewhere and you have found somewhere where you can sell it for a higher price. But the market always readjusts. The market always finds out the flaws and tries to rebalance it. And in this way, arbitrage in specific fields goes from being highly profitable to not so profitable at all. So SBF had to grow out of it. SBF had to expand to other things. As a result, in 2019, he incorporated FTX, a crypto exchange where people can buy, sell, and store crypto assets. Now enters our second character, CZ, the CEO of Binance. CZ saw an investment opportunity and bought 20% of FTX for $100 million. And it turned out to be a huge success for CZ as SBF bought him out for $2 billion in 2021. That is a 20x return on investment in just 2 years. FTX's growth was exponential in these 2 years. They raised over $1 billion at a $32 billion valuation. FTX bought the naming rights to the Miami Heat's basketball stadium and renamed it to FTX Arena. They paid A-lister celebs like Tom Brady, Stephen Curry, Kevin O'Leary, etc. to endorse them. It was all going great. So when and what went wrong? There were 2 things in particular that caused the FTX collapse. One, the FTT token, and the second is Alameda Research. Let's break this down one by one. If you are unfamiliar with crypto standard operation procedures, crypto companies generally have their own tokens. It works like both stock and a currency. FTX had their own FTT token, which they could print as much as they wanted. At its peak, one FTT token was equivalent of $77 US. Imagine printing your own money and then taking out loans against that money as collateral. FTX did exactly that, but it gets much worse from here. Alameda Research was the trading/hedge fund arm of FTX. SBF was the CEO of Alameda Research until he started FTX. Then he hired Caroline Ellison as the CEO of Alameda Research. A little side note here. FTX and Caroline Ellison, along with a bunch of other people, were involved in a polyamorous relationship while being high on drugs in a Bahamian apartment somewhere. So the relationship between Alameda Research and FTX was more complicated than these two CEOs. Here are 4 red flags. Number 1. FTX lent $10 billion of customer assets to Alameda in 2022. Number 2. Alameda used a secret backdoor to take out funds from FTX as they pleased. Number 3. Alameda traded against FTX customers on the exchange, a blatant conflict of interest. And at number 4, Alameda held over 70% of all FTT tokens in circulation. They probably violated every single business and finance law that ever existed on planet Earth until it all came crashing down. The process began with a CoinDesk report published on November 2nd, 2022. On the amount of FTT tokens held by Alameda. Remember CZ, who sold his stake in FTX for $2 billion? Well, half of that payment was received in FTT token. So when CZ found out that FTT was a hot pile of crap, he decided to dump it all. Now CZ and SBF already had some beef going on about crypto regulations. SBF was becoming the more familiar and friendlier face to the Washington regulators, and CZ didn't like it at all. This added more fuel to the fire. The market got spooked and everyone started selling. Because even a child would know that FTT cannot survive $1 billion worth of dump. At this time, people started to uncover all sorts of unnerving information on FTX. It was pretty much game over from here on. At this moment, CZ knew that he had FTX by the throat. So why not buy them out pennies on the dollar? So he signed a non-binding letter of intent to acquire FTX on November 8, 2022. This basically starts the process for due diligence for a company to acquire another one. But Binance found out very soon that FTX was such a huge pile of mess that it was even worse than worthless. So basically Binance reneged on their letter of intent and FTX finally had to file for bankruptcy on 11th of November. Now if you look into it more closely, what you will see is both the corporate world and the US government are responsible for the FTX crisis. Sequoia, BlackRock, Tiger Global, all these hedge funds and money managers manage trillions of dollars in assets. It is their job to do proper due diligence. But they were so charmed by this charismatic founder that Sequoia even wrote a love letter to SBF after investing in FTX. They actually had it on their website. Why? Because he was playing League of Legends during the meeting. I mean, what a genius, right? These VC firms didn't even ask for a single board seat. Imagine a multi-billion-dollar FinCorp without a board. Yes, that happened. When billionaire investor Chamath Palihapitiya actually suggested a board structure, the FTX team told him to F off. That's how blatant it was.
We did some work and we sent him a 2-page deck and we said, here are our recommendations for taking the next step. One was the formation of a board. The second was the creation of dual class stock. The third was some reps and warranties around affiliated transactions and related party transactions. And the person that worked there called us back and literally, I'm not kidding you, said, go fuck yourself.
After the bankruptcy, John J. Ray was appointed as the CEO to manage the crisis. In his statement, he said, "Never in my career have I seen such an utter failure of corporate controls at every level of an organization, from the lack of financial statements to a complete failure of any internal controls or governance whatsoever." And this was the guy who handled the Enron bankruptcy. Now let's talk about government oversight. As I said already, SBF was the second biggest donor to the Democratic Party in the US. He also donated to the Republicans privately. His agenda? Regulations are inevitable in crypto, but if he gives them cash, the politicians will return the favor. And to a large extent, they did return the favor. There were several complaints and a few low-level investigations against SBF way before any suspicion arose, but none of them amounted to anything. No one asked how he was running his multi-billion-dollar company on Slack and QuickBook. So the outcome? The outcome, as always, is that the public lost a lot of money. Every day we are getting more information about SBF's nefarious dealing with FTX. Hopefully, the people will get their money back and SBF will be sent to jail for a long time. And that's about it. If you like this video and if you want more of this kind of breakdowns, please let me know in the comments. If you're watching this video on YouTube, please do like and subscribe. And if you're watching this on X, I really appreciate a like, a follow and a comment in no particular order. Thank you and have a good day.